Today in our lineup today, here on the Now, we're talking about some of the dogs in shelters that can be the hardest to find homes for. We're going to take you inside a new program, giving them new life as police dogs. And we're looking at the growing cost of sitting in traffic, the action that cities are taking that is actually starting to help. And the recommendations about milk and juice for kids are changing, where children could be getting those nutrients instead now.
Thank you, Chris. I'm Amanda Starantino, and you're watching the Now Indy. A rocky start to the day on Wall Street, and it was a wild ride since then. All day, the markets have been shaky here and around the globe, not only amid concerns about the coronavirus, but also a crash in oil prices overseas. The Dow closed down more than 2,000 points, its worst day since 2008. For the most time in more than 2 decades, trading was automatically halted this morning due to the steep slide. The shakiness on Wall Street may have you questioning what to do with your 401k and your investments. RTV6 turned to financial experts for answers. We wanted to know if you should be moving your money around.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, this is a classic case of a scenario where they're just not sure. They had a phenomenal year, most people did last year, and they just want to keep their money on the table as best they can. However, my advice is this is not the time to sell. This is actually a time to just sort of step back. If you've got your portfolio designed for your long-term needs, you shouldn't try to take advantage of this jolt in the market. You should sort of step back and not try to catch a falling knife.
David Webb is the founder of Webb Capital Management in Indianapolis. He stresses this is not the time to panic. In fact, he says in about 3 to 6 months, there may be great opportunities to buy in as the markets rebound and level. And tourism in Indianapolis has not taken a hit since the uptick in the coronavirus spread. One convention so far, the America Coding Show, has been postponed to a later date. But Visit Indy tells us there have been no cancellations of any upcoming events and conventions. Chris Gall from Visit Indy says they are taking steps week by week as the coronavirus outbreak continues to evolve. So far, Visit Indy has been in touch with other large cities and their tourism agencies on the measures they are taking in regards to keeping their residents and visitors healthy.
In addition to proactively calling all the conventions that are slated to take place here in the next 120 days, we've fielded a handful of calls from people slated to attend some of these conventions who have curiosity on what's happening here. And so very transparently, we're sharing with them the facts from the Indiana Department of Health, facts from the Marion County Health Department. Moreover, we're able to share with them what the city as a whole is doing that goes beyond the Indiana Convention Center and the airport and the hotels and our hospitality industry as a whole, to reassure them again that we're taking preventative actions and steps as a city. And so far, again, just one postponement, no cancellations. And talking with our hoteliers, the occupancy remains healthy.
And coming up in March, Indianapolis is hosting the Big Ten plus a major volleyball tournament. Visit Indy says they feel very confident with the way the city and our event facilities are proactively reacting to the spread of coronavirus, and that as an agency, Visit Indy does not have plans to cancel any events because of the virus at this point. Kevin.
Let's look west, and basically if you look north, south, west, or east, you'll find the cloud cover in place. It's the showers moving into western Indiana. Rain moves from west to east this evening. We're comfortably at 61. That wind is strong, though, south at 22, and will gust over 30 miles per hour. The peak gust so far in Indy has been 40. There are the showers. Lafayette to nearly Terre Haute through, Attica, Williamsport, Covington, Petersburg. In most cases, probably sprinkles. It will take a while to moisten the atmosphere so that starts reaching the ground. It does have its temperature impact first. Western half of the state, middle to upper 50s. Temperature in Muncie right now, 63. Temperatures to the south above the 60-degree mark. Rain will expand, generally light rain. I think overnight we'll have some pockets where we get a little heavier downpour, maybe an isolated thunderstorm. Temperature through 11 o'clock still in the mid-50s. Here's the wind situation. South, that's a warm wind combined with the cloudy skies, keeps temperatures from falling off too much. Temperature of about 36 for the afternoon high. Take you through the nighttime, 7 to 11. There are your rain showers from Terre Haute to Indy. Then they slide on to the south and east with the focus south and east first thing in the morning. We'll continue our conversation about the rest of the timeline for tomorrow and beyond coming up.
The State Department is now saying don't go on a cruise even if you are healthy. Now, this isn't a travel restriction. Technically, you could still go if you really wanted to. Cruise Line International Association has some new guidelines. It's not letting people board who have traveled through impacted virus areas. They're also doing extra illness screenings, including temperature checks of passengers. Health officials say older Americans and those with underlying medical conditions should avoid long flights and large crowds. Now, at this point, if you are cruising, flying, or visiting a tourist area for spring break, it's really up to you to make the decision of whether or not you want to go. The good news is that cruise lines, airlines, and others are being more flexible when it comes to rescheduling and refunds. Now, if you do go, you have to think of some risks besides just getting sick.
Could there be the potential where you'd be quarantined depending on where you're going and how the things develop with COVID-19? That could very well be a situation you find yourself in.
Now, you also want to pack extras of the essentials like medication if you do decide to go on a cruise or take a flight. Also, hand sanitizer, disinfectant wipes, and contact travel companies and travel agents directly to see how they're handling the State Department recommendation. The government's cracking down on companies that are claiming that their products can treat or prevent coronavirus. 7 businesses got warning letters from the FTC and FDA. They're advertising products like teas and essential oils, claiming to boost your immune system. Now, just note that there are no approved vaccines or drugs available to treat or prevent coronavirus. So if you do see claims like this, report it to the FTC. Let's turn to the Now News feed. The U.S. has started withdrawing troops from Afghanistan. As part of the new agreement with the Taliban, the U.S. is decreasing the amount of troops in the country from 13,000 to around 8,600. Jurors were unable to reach a decision today surrounding a massive information leak from the CIA to WikiLeaks. The Washington Post reporting the jury did not return a verdict on if Joshua Schulte turned over information. It did find that he was guilty on 2 lesser charges, including lying to investigators. The possibility of paying college athletes now up for debate in a California court. An appeals panel is hearing the case of whether athletes can make money outside of scholarships. The decision in this case could pave the way for other states to have college athletes get paid. All right, let's get back to our lineup. Sesame Street getting involved in the census, how they're highlighting a group who often goes undercounted.
Protecting Hoosier Kids, Wednesday night at 7.
GLEANERS Food Bank is making some big changes this week in the way it distributes food at its community cupboard on the Indianapolis Southwest side. In response to the coronavirus and flu season, a drive-through system will be used to give out food at the cupboard on Waldemere Avenue. The pantry itself, including restrooms, will be closed. Starting tomorrow, family meal boxes will be distributed outside of the building. Fresh produce will also be available. Here are the hours for this week. Tuesday and Wednesday, 10 to 3, and Thursday, 2 to 7. Saturday distribution this week is canceled due to staffing.
Let's get to the Now News feed. A SpaceX cargo ship making a delivery on the ISS today, the 20th delivery by the Dragon capsule that brought equipment and treats like hot tamales and Reese's. All right, Amazon Go stores won't be the only places where you can get cashierless experiences. The company now selling the technology to other retailers. Amazon says multiple companies have already signed on. Starbucks is testing a new, more environmentally friendly cup starting today. Companies using a sustainable paper cup in New York, San Francisco, and Seattle. The liner's made of biodegradable materials instead of plastic. Researchers say kids under 5 years old were the most undercounted in the last census. Sesame Street wants to help change that.
Do kids count?
We all count, especially kids and babies. Make your family count. Counting.
These new public service announcements started airing today. They encourage parents to make sure their kids are counted.
We often find that young children may act as little reminders to their grown-ups, their moms, dads, and caregivers and teachers, to also remind them and ask questions about what is the census? Why is that Muppet telling me that I should be counted?
The PSAs take a couple different angles to encourage census participation. That includes how to take part by calling, going online, or mail, reiterating that the census is safe and secure, and explaining the impact that it can have on your neighborhood. Sesame Street also has informational posters and PDFs on its website that you can print out. Those resources and the PSAs are available in English and Spanish. And for most people, the head count will start on Thursday. All right, let's get back to our lineup, and we are going to turn to an inspiring story of second chances.
We want everyone in this country to understand that just because you're misunderstood doesn't mean that you don't have a purpose in life.
How the dogs, who are often the hardest to get adopted from shelters, are getting new life as police dogs.
Fish, yeah.
We're seeing families and corporations limit travel because of the coronavirus. People that are older or ill are being told to avoid enclosed public places with large crowds. Now, there's been a big change in societal habits since the last pandemic in 2009, the flu, that might prevent the spread.
So I think having all the delivery services and our reliance on online retail could actually be a blessing in this situation.
Cornell professor Karan Girotra says delivery workers are now in the front lines of disease transmission. The ability to have food, supplies, and medicine delivered could be helpful instead of having to go to stores. But Girotra says that delivery services need to be ready to protect workers and handle demand.
I think if delivery services can get ahead of this and adapt their operating systems, increase their capacity, this could be a huge kind of blessing.
Now, we did reach out to some major delivery players. UPS gave us the most detailed response, saying that it's come up with protocol for drivers that includes protection supplies. UPS also is still flying in and out of China to support demand and deliver relief supplies like protective medical gear. FedEx says it's still flying in and out of impacted areas as much as local restrictions will allow. Its teams are taking extra precautions. Walmart didn't respond, but it is looking to hire more truck drivers. Amazon did not respond either. Now, companies like Postmates say they will offer no-contact food deliveries. Uber and Lyft have recommendations for drivers to help prevent coronavirus spread, including increased disinfecting of vehicles. Well, gridlock during your commute could be costing you more than you think. New report from INRIX finds that traffic congestion cost Americans $88 billion last year. That number is based on time loss. Now, for the second year in a row, Boston ranked as the most congested city in America. The average commuter there losing 149 hours. Boston, followed by Chicago, Philly, New York, and D.C. What might surprise you with this list is that L.A. coming in 6th in terms of congestion. That's because of just how far the city spreads and its massive road network. INRIX says that it found one of the best predictors of congestion is the city's age. Older areas tend to be worse because they weren't planned around driving. Last year also saw some major policy changes. Some cities adopted bus service improvements or car bans on certain streets.
And so there's really been a refocusing as to how can you move people more efficiently and provide greater accessibility through prioritizing alternatives to driving in a lot of these major cities.
INRIX says congestion appears to be stabilizing in some metropolitan areas across the country.
And many people have been asking what's next for former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg now that he is out of race for president. Well, it's not a full-time gig, but we do know one thing he'll be doing this week. Buttigieg says he will guest host Jimmy Kimmel Live here on RTV6 this Thursday night. Buttigieg made the announcement on the Today Show this morning. Around the same time, Kimmel announced it on Twitter.
Lining up a great slate of guests. Sir Patrick Stewart's coming on. We're very excited about that.
Amy Klobuchar, she going to be a guest, perhaps?
You know, I'm hoping to catch up with her soon. But
you're going to do monologue and everything.
Yeah. Well, hopefully some funnier minds than mine will be doing some writing for that. But
Kimmel is away from his show this week, taping episodes of the 20th anniversary revival of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Well, the weather felt like $1 million this weekend, Kevin.
And 66 today. It still feels good. It's starting to look a little different. There's the cloud cover down in Bloomington, not far from, I think spring break is next week for IU students, maybe Purdue as well. I'm not totally up to speed on that. We'll see some showers here in a second. Just want to step out. I've made the trade. Snow shovels being put away and the lawnmower revved up and ready to go. Not to say that we don't have a chance for some snow showers in the forecast. I'd say Saturday night we may mix in some snowflakes with the rain showers as colder air returns over the weekend, but our chance for accumulating snow is going that way. Windy, wet tonight. We've got the windy side already. We're waiting on the rain to overspread central Indiana. The chance for rain you'll see quite often in the 7-day forecast, although it's not overwhelming on any one day. Probably the next most likely time will be Thursday night into Friday morning. Temperatures are mild for the rest of the work week. There's your rain shower activity. Some sprinkles toward Indianapolis up to Zionsville, Lebanon toward Lafayette along I-65. Then more substantial rain sits back to the west. This is all fairly light. We could overnight have an isolated thunderstorm in the southern portion of the state. Indy's at 61, Bloomington at 60 degrees. The wind strong everywhere out of the south. Temperatures then tonight will just slowly change, and areas south of Interstate 70 likely to stay in the 50s all night. North of Interstate 70, upper 40s. 11 o'clock tonight, little pocket of heavier rain zipping north and east. These little pockets of heavier rain may accumulate half an inch to an inch in some spots before this ends mid-morning tomorrow. But as you can see, by 1 o'clock, we've got the clouds, but the rain will be gone by then. Tomorrow, temperatures in the morning will be their mildest, so don't get false confidence. Dress for colder temperatures later in the day as we slowly fall through the day. Temperatures back into the upper 40s during the afternoon. During the afternoon hours, there's the cloud cover breaking up a little bit. You see the clearing line to the north Tuesday evening. Wednesday temperatures still in the 50s. That will keep temperatures above average for a while, and our chance for showers through the first part of Wednesday. Maybe a few breaks in the cloud cover in the afternoon. We'll be back with that 4-day forecast shortly.
One organization is giving shelter dogs a second chance. As Maya Rodriguez shows us, some of the dogs are going into police work.
You want to go work? It doesn't take much to get Hansel going. Let's go work. His greatest asset? His nose, which comes in handy as the first pit bull in the country to ever become a certified arson detection dog.
My boy, 100%.
Arson investigator Tyler Van Leer of the Millville Fire Department in New Jersey is his handler.
He's certified to detect 14 ignitable liquid odors.
But Hansel's path getting here wasn't easy. He was rescued from an alleged dog fighting ring in Canada. Authorities there wanted to euthanize all of the dogs, but rescue groups stepped in.
He's a snorer.
Right? Hansel eventually found his way to Carol Skaziak, who founded the nonprofit Throwaway Dogs Project. The group takes dogs that are rescues or in shelters and turns them into law enforcement canines.
I am married to a police officer, and my co-founder actually is a canine handler.
It can cost more than $20,000 to train one canine, but the Throwaway Dogs Project donates all of their dogs to departments for free.
Just little by little, each year, finding those misunderstood dogs and then pairing them up with police departments.
Before spending 16 weeks at the Fire Academy, it took the Throwaway Dogs Project 1 year to train Hansel as an arson investigator.
We do scent work with the dog. We imprint the dogs on a specific odor, which might be narcotics or could be explosives.
Since joining the fire department in January, he's already investigated 2 fires. His handler, Tyler, says Hansel loves people, kids, and other dogs, including the 3 that also live with them. Quite a turnaround for a dog that once had a bleak future.
I think he knows that he has a purpose now. He has his human, and everybody around here loves him.
The whole moral of this story is about second chances. But I want everyone in this country to understand that just because you're misunderstood doesn't mean that you don't have a purpose in life.
A new purpose for Hansel and his passion for play.
That's all he cares about.
In Millville, New Jersey, I'm Maya Rodriguez reporting.
Oh, boy.
All right, Maya, thank you. Now, experts estimate child sex abuse rates between 8 and 20%. It doesn't always go reported or involve an adult. There are concerns about changes coming to the rules that schools need to follow.
Communication just suddenly sort of stopped. It was all funneled through the general counsel's office. And of course, they were worried about their liability more than our daughter's education.
Joel Levin founded the nonprofit Stop Sexual Assault in Schools. His daughter was assaulted on a school field trip. Now, they want parents to know their rights, and he claims the school didn't comply with Title IX, and that's a rule that's supposed to ensure that all students learn in a safe environment. His daughter was not able to go back to school and is now working on her GED. The Education Department's looking to change guidelines on how schools should handle sexual misconduct claims. They include stricter definitions of what sexual misconduct and harassment are, designating a specific school employee the complaint must go through, also to have the student do a live hearing. And Levin says that may discourage victims from coming forward, leading to fewer incidents being reported and just creating confusion.
So it would put districts in a bind. Do we follow what the new guideline, the new regulations say sexual harassment is, or do we have to comply with our state definition?
The School Superintendents Association also has concerns about these changes. All right, next on our lineup here on the Now, the recommendations about milk and juice for kids are changing. We're going to take a look at where children could be getting those nutrients instead.